Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really not just skimming the headlines.
No, not at all.
We're pulling apart the machinery of one of the strangest, most abrasive, and I think arguably one of the most significant nights in recent cultural history.
It is so rare that a single event gives us this much raw data to work with.
Right.
Usually we have to piece together trends from months of reporting, looking at different sources. But this was all just concentrated into about 4 hours of live television.
We are talking, of course, about the 68th Annual Grammy Awards. The date, Friday, February 6, 2026.
And it feels like a turning point.
It really does. If you're listening to this a few years in the future, you might remember this as the night the traditional, awards show format finally just collapsed under its own weight.
Or maybe evolved.
Yeah.
Devolved into something completely unrecognizable.
That's a good way to put it.
Because looking at the source material we've gathered, and we have a lot, the transcripts, the social media sentiment analysis, even some backstage reports, it's so clear this wasn't really about the music.
Not primarily.
I mean, golden gramophones were handed out, sure, but the event itself, it was about friction.
That is the perfect word. That's the word that kept coming up in my review of the notes. Friction.
Yeah.
It felt like a violent collision of two completely distinct worlds.
Absolutely.
On one side, you had what felt like a high-stakes, raw political rally, just completely uncensored and angry.
On the other side,
You had this surreal, almost fever dream performance art that was just bordering on a public, nervous breakdown.
exactly. It was all about testing boundaries. We saw the boundaries of censorship tested. We saw the boundaries of political speech tested. And I mean, quite literally, if you look at the photos from the red carpet, the boundaries of clothing were definitely tested.
Or the total absence thereof. And we will definitely get to the wardrobe choices, or the lack of them, later in the dive.
They have to.
But before we get distracted by just the sheer spectacle of it all, let's define our mission here.
Okay.
We aren't here to critique the snare drum sound on the record of the year or, argue about bridge composition.
No, this is not a music theory class. We are here to analyze 3 very specific pillars that held up this whole chaotic night.
What's the first one?
First, the radical political statements that actually made it onto live TV, specifically how they bypassed the censors and, more importantly, what they actually mean.
Okay, pillar 1, politics.
Second, a truly historic shift in who actually dominates the global music scene. And we're basing that on the hard data from the awards.
Right, not just feelings, the actual wins.
And third, well, the absolute absurdity of the stage performances, the moments that made you wonder what was going on.
The public meltdown part of the
Yeah,
evening.
that's the one.
And just a quick tone check before we launch into this.
Yeah.
We aren't here to clutch our pearls. We aren't here to say, oh my heavens, can you believe they did that?
No, that's not the goal. We're going to quote this stuff directly.
Uncensored.
Uncensored.
Because you can't understand the friction between pop culture and hard reality
Mm-hmm.
if you're trying to sanitize it. We're going to look at this critically, but we're not going to sugarcoat the language used on that stage.
So, fair warning to everyone listening.
Let's start with that first pillar then. The political sledgehammer.
The main event.
Yeah, the centerpiece of the night, the moment that sucked all the air out of the Crypto.com arena, was Billie Eilish.
It usually is in some way, but this felt different. This was a new level,
So the setup is, she takes home her 10th Grammy.
which is already, an incredible achievement.
This one is for Song of the Year, for the track Wildflower. Now, normally, listeners, you know the drill. This is the part where the artist goes up, thanks their mom, thanks God, thanks the producer who stayed up all night mixing the track.
Maybe gives a shout out to their fan club, the whole routine.
Right, the standard, I couldn't be here without you speech. It's protocol. It's safe, it keeps the advertisers happy, and it keeps the show running on time.
Billie did not do that.
Not even close.
The transcript shows she completely bypassed all of the industry pleasantries. She didn't thank a single person. Not one.
She just used this massive global platform to deliver a specific, targeted policy critique.
And what's so fascinating here is the language she used. It wasn't vague at all. It wasn't, let's all love each other, or can't we all just get along, or peace on earth.
It was specific and historically loaded.
Extremely.
The quote that is everywhere today, I mean, it's already on T-shirts, it's being painted on walls, it's trending globally, is, no one is illegal on stolen land.
Let's just pause on that phrase for a second and really unpack it.
Please.
No one is illegal on stolen land.
Yeah.
That is a sentence that carries, 500 years of weight?
At least.
She is juxtaposing 2 very potent political concepts here. First, you have the modern legal concept of an illegal immigrant or an undocumented person, a term that's used by the state to classify a person's status.
It's a bureaucratic term, a legal one.
Exactly. And she's countering that entire framework with the indigenous rights framework, the assertion that the United States itself is built on territory that was seized from native peoples.
So structurally, by saying stolen land, she's basically delegitimizing the authority of the state to declare anyone illegal in the first place.
Precisely. She's cutting the legs out from under the legal argument before it can even start. She's saying, who are you to tell anyone they don't belong here when the very ground you built your courthouse on was acquired through theft?
It's a radical, decolonial statement.
Broadcast live to millions of families sitting in their living rooms expecting to hear about a pop song.
And it completely reframes the entire immigration debate.
It does. It moves it from a matter of law and order to a matter of historical legitimacy. And she does it in 6 words.
That's the power of the rhetoric.
But she didn't stop there. And this is where it gets really, really interesting for the production crew at CBS.
The panic button moment.
That's it. So she's standing there, holding the golden gramophone, looking dead into the camera, and she says, and this is a direct quote, "Feck ICE." That's all I'm going to say.
And you could just feel the collective gasp.
Oh, yeah. An absolute chaos ensues in the control room.
I can only imagine.
The sources describe a frantic, panicked reaction from the CBS sound engineers. They have a delay, right? Usually it's 7 seconds, specifically for this reason.
I catch things like this.
They were scrambling to find the dump button, the mute button, to kill the audio in real time.
But they missed it, didn't they? It went out live.
They were too slow. Or maybe, and this is just speculation, but maybe the shock paralyzed them for that split second.
It's possible.
And this brings up a fascinating paradox of live broadcast protest. In the old days, if you cut the mic, the message died right there.
The story becomes so-and-so was cut off.
Right. But in 2026, the attempt to silence it actually amplifies it. It makes it louder.
Totally. Because we all saw the glitch. We all saw the panic. And for the people who are watching on the East Coast feed where it might have been partially garbled or bleeped,
what did they do?
They immediately went to social media to find out what she actually said.
Exactly. The brief silence or the audio glitch creates a vacuum, and the internet fills that vacuum immediately with the uncensored quip.
Which probably came from international feeds.
Right, from feeds where the FCC rules don't apply. So by trying to mute Feck ICE, the network essentially guaranteed that Feck ICE would be the headline.
The Streisand effect in real time.
Perfectly put.
And just for our listeners who might not be up on every acronym, or for our international listeners, when she says ICE, we're talking about Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
Correct. The federal agency under the Department of Homeland Security, they're responsible for the detention and deportation of undocumented immigrants.
So this wasn't just a vague anti-government sentiment.
Not at all. It was a very specific attack on the enforcement arm of U.S. immigration policy. And this is likely in response to the recent uptick in workplace raids that have been dominating the news cycle leading up to the event.
So she's connecting her art, her platform, directly to the headline news of the week.
And she wasn't alone in this. That's another key part. It wasn't just a verbal statement. It was visual. The sources all highlight the pins.
The ICEOU pins.
Yes. We saw them on Billie, obviously, but we also saw them on Justin Bieber and on Kehlani.
Which implies coordination, doesn't it? It wasn't just a spur-of-the-moment outburst from one person.
It has to. It implies a coalition. It implies that a group of top-tier artists got together beforehand and decided, tonight, this is the message we're sending. It's a unified stance against the raids.
But what I found hilarious, and this really speaks to the bubble that some people live in, was the reaction on Reddit that night.
Oh, I saw this in the notes, the conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was this huge thread on Tor Technology where users were absolutely convinced the ICBC-8 pins were a viral marketing campaign.
They thought it was an app, right?
They thought it was a teaser for a new encrypted messenger app called ICE or a new cold storage crypto wallet project.
You're kidding.
Not at all. They were analyzing the font on the pin, looking for hidden QR codes in the design. Seriously.
That is such a perfect and, honestly, a somewhat depressing snapshot of our times. We are so conditioned to being sold things, so conditioned to everything being a product launch, that when we see a genuine political protest, our first instinct is, what's the subscription model for this?
Is it on the blockchain? Can I buy the token?
Exactly. But no, the reality check here is that it was just hard politics.
Yeah.
So synthesizing this first pillar. Are we seeing a real shift here? Is the pop star as policy critic the new norm for acceptance speeches?
I think we are seeing the death of the neutral entertainer.
How so?
Well, in a world that's this polarized, silence is increasingly interpreted as complicity, especially by the younger fan base. If you have the microphone, if you have that global stage, and you don't say something about the world, you are viewed as part of the problem.
That's a lot of pressure.
It is, but also look at the friction again. You have the unbelievable glitz of the ceremony, the diamonds, the couture gowns, the champagne, and then you have this gritty, brutal reality of immigration raids being dragged onto that stage.
It's incredibly uncomfortable.
It's extreme friction, and that friction creates heat. It creates energy. That's why we're talking about it. Billie Eilish knows that the Grammy stage is a weapon, and she fired it.
She certainly did. But, she wasn't the only one making history that night. While Billie was battling the establishment politics, there was this massive shift happening in the actual awards themselves.
The tectonic plates of the music industry shifted.
Let's talk about Bad Bunny.
The big one.
He wins Album of the Year for Debí Tirar Más Fotos.
Which translates to, I should have taken more photos.
And this isn't just another win. This is a milestone.
It is the milestone. This is the very first Spanish-language album to ever win the top honor at the Grammys. Ever. In 68 years.
That is actually kind of shocking it took this long.
It is, but institutions are slow to change. This win, it signals that the mainstream has fundamentally shifted south.
What do you mean by that?
For decades, the unspoken rule was that to win Album of the Year, you had to sing in English. You could have a Latin flair, you could have a Spanish verse here and there, think Despacito or Mi Gente. But the package, the primary delivery mechanism, had to be Anglo-centric.
Bad Bunny broke that rule.
He smashed it to pieces, and he didn't do it by crossing over. He did it by staying in his lane and forcing the world to come to him.
That's a key distinction.
A huge one. He didn't make an English album to try and win. He made a Puerto Rican album. He refused to compromise the language to appease the Academy, and the Academy finally had to bow to the sheer cultural weight of his work. The numbers were just too big to ignore.
And the social media reaction noted in our sources was instant. A massive debate blew up on Twitter about language versus mainstream.
It's the tension of globalization playing out in real time. You have a segment of the audience, and let's be honest, it's mostly older, mostly white, that is confused. They're asking, why did an album I can't understand win the biggest award in American music?
And what's the answer to that?
And then you have the reality, which is that the U.S. music market is no longer a monolingual entity. It hasn't been for a long time.
It's a reflection of the demographic shift.
Absolutely. The Grammys are finally catching up to the census data. Spanish is a domestic language in the United States, culturally speaking. This win legitimizes that reality on an institutional level. It says that American music is not exclusively English music.
And it wasn't just him. I mean, we saw other major wins that reinforced this shift in the cultural center.
For sure. Kendrick Lamar and SCA took Record of the Year for Luther.
Another powerhouse win.
Right. And look, Kendrick continuing to sweep the rap categories is almost expected at this point. He's just on another level. But it reinforces that hip-hop and reggaeton, Bad Bunny's lane, are the twin engines driving global culture right now.
So where does that leave the other genres?
Rock, pop, country. I mean, they are sharing the backseat. They're still there. They're still important. But they're not in the driver's seat of the culture anymore.
But then, just to keep things interesting and to confuse the narrative a little bit,
there's always a curveball.
We have Olivia Dean winning Best New Artist.
The British soul invasion.
Exactly. And it's such a sharp contrast. You have the raw, propulsive energy of Bad Bunny, you have the lyrical complexity of Kendrick, and then you have this smooth, retro-tinged British soul.
It shows that while the center of gravity is absolutely shifting towards Latin music and hip-hop, there is still this massive appetite for that classic vocal soul sound.
It's like a different kind of authenticity.
It is. It balances the palette of the night. It tells us that while the industry is changing, tradition still has a vote. It's a nice counterweight to the other shifts we saw.
So we've got the political rebellion, we've got the historic cultural shift, and now we have to talk about the things that made us question our own sanity.
Section 3, the theater of the absurd.
This is where the night just went completely off the rails.
Yeah.
Our outline calls this performance art or public meltdown. And I think the answer is probably yes.
It's definitely both. And frankly, it's what kept people watching. If it was just awards, nobody would tune in.
That's a sad truth. Let's start with the moment that broke the internet. Justin Bieber.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
So he comes out to perform his hit Yukon. And he starts the performance in this like high-fashion, structured Balenciaga suit. He looks impeccable.
Total pop icon status. The lighting is moody. It feels serious and important.
The setup, he looks like he owns the building. He looks like a statesman of pop music.
It does.
And then, the pivot. By the end of this very serious song, he is standing on stage wearing nothing but boxer shorts and a pair of socks.
Just standing there in the middle of the stage.
In his boxers.
Yeah.
And not like sexy music video boxers, not Calvin Klein model boxers.
No.
The sources describe the aesthetic shift as going from pop icon to your dad in the kitchen in the morning looking for coffee.
That specific visual is so jarring because you strip away all the celebrity armor, the Balenciaga, the styling, the lights, the choreography, and you're just left with a guy in his underwear.
It's incredibly vulnerable.
But also hilarious. It completely demystifies the celebrity in real time.
The sources gave this a meme of the year rating of 11 out of 10.
Deservedly so. I mean, my phone was just a wall of screenshots of that moment for the next 24 hours. It's already everywhere.
But the real cherry on top, the thing that elevated it from just a weird stunt to art,
was the reaction shot.
the camera cuts to his wife, Hailey Bieber, sitting in the front row.
And her face just says everything.
It became the universal template for when he starts doing that thing again.
It wasn't anger, was it?
No, not at all. It was this deep, resigned exhaustion. It was the look of someone who has seen this show in their living room 1,000 times before.
It humanized the whole spectacle because we've all been there, maybe not watching our spouse strip on national television, but watching someone we love do something kind of embarrassing and just thinking, here we go again.
It grounded the absurdity in a very, very relatable human emotion.
So what's your take? Why do you think he did it? Is it art? Or did he just, lose his mind for a minute?
I think it's a commentary on exposure.
Interesting.
I mean, we see everything of these people. They are stripped bare by the media constantly. So for him to do it literally on stage, it's almost like he's taking control of that narrative.
You want to see me? Here I am.
Exactly. Here I am, in my socks. It deconstructs the idol. It says, underneath all this, I am just a guy.
Or he just lost a bet.
That is also a distinct possibility we cannot rule out. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, and sometimes a guy in his underwear just lost a bet backstage.
We may never know.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to Sabrina Carpenter. She apparently decided that just singing wasn't enough. She needed to do a magic show.
A magic show on the Grammy stage. Because I guess, why not?
The source material says she arrives on stage via a luggage claim conveyor belt. Which, okay, visually it's interesting. Maybe it's a commentary on travel, emotional baggage, who knows?
It's a choice.
But then she reaches into a top hat and pulls out a live pigeon.
A live pigeon.
A live bird. And the fallout was immediate. The reports say PETA is already drafting the angry letters.
As they do. But this really raises the question of the line between entertainment and animal welfare.
You feel so dated.
It really does. Using live animals as props in a high-stress, loud environment like the Grammys, it feels like something from vaudeville, in the wrong century. It feels like something from a 1970s variety show, not 2026.
It's cringe. The sources rated the cringe level at an 8 out of 10. It just felt so unnecessary.
Wow.
I mean, you have the voice, you have the song. Why do you need the bird?
It's the desperation for a moment. That's what it is. In this attention economy, being talented isn't enough anymore. You have to have a gimmick.
A viral clip.
Exactly. You have to have a clip that goes viral on TikTok. A great vocal performance is nice, but a pigeon, that gets clicks. Even if they're angry clicks from animal rights groups. It creates discourse.
Speaking of gimmicks that create discourse, Tyler, the creator.
Now, this is a different category of chaos. This isn't cringe chaos. This is high art chaos.
Our source material calls his performance pure chaos and rated it a 10 out of 10.
That's an accurate rating.
So he crashes a car into the set, like physically drives a vehicle into the scenery on stage.
Which is already a statement.
He does 3 distinct costume changes mid-set, which is logistically insane.
Yeah.
And for the finale, he blows up a fake gas station.
Boom, a massive pyrotechnic event. Flames, smoke, the works.
So why is chaos the currency here? If you compare this to polished, perfect performances of the past, think Beyonce Coachella, think Bruno Mars. This was messy. It was destructive.
It's a rejection of polish. I think that's what it is. We're living in messy, chaotic times. A perfectly choreographed, slick dance routine feels a little fake right now.
It doesn't reflect the moment.
Exactly. But a car crash, an explosion, that feels like 2026.
Yeah.
Tyler is a genius at reading the room of the culture. He knows that people want energy, not perfection. They want to feel something visceral.
It's definitely visceral. It wakes you up.
It's punk rock with a corporate budget. He's using the Grammys money to symbolically burn down the Grammys stage. It's brilliant, really.
And then, amidst all of these explosions and stripping and pigeons, we have Cher.
The legend. The anchor in the storm of chaos.
Her classic moment. She's there to present an award. She walks on stage, says her lines, and then just walks off stage without reading the nominees.
Just leaves. Just wanders off camera.
She realizes her mistake, comes back a minute later, grabs the mic and just goes, "Oh, my bad," and then continues like nothing happened.
And the room erupted. Everyone loved it. She got a bigger cheer for that than for some of the performances.
So why is that? If Sabrina Carpenter did that, people would say she's unprofessional.
Yeah.
If a newcomer did that, their career might be over.
Because she's Cher. It's as simple as that. When you reach that level of icon status, you exist above the rules of the event.
Right.
You can forget why you're there, and it's charming. Anyone else does it, and it's a disaster. Cher does it, and it's a mood. It signifies that she is bigger than the event itself.
Oh, my bad. I want to start using that for everything in my life. Did you finish that report? Oh, my bad.
It's the ultimate power move. It says, I don't need this. I'm just visiting your little show.
So we have the politics, the cultural shift, and the performance chaos. But we can't ignore the red carpet. Because before anyone even got on stage, the tone for the night was set outside.
Oh, yeah. Specifically by Chappell Roan.
Okay, let's talk about the dress. Or the lack of a dress.
We are definitely seeing a theme here tonight with the removal of clothing.
The sources describe a topless appearance that sparked more online debate than most of the actual awards.
It's the escalation of shock value. We've seen the naked dress for years. We've seen sheer fabric. We've seen strategically placed crystals. Chappell just decided to skip the pretense.
Just dispense with the fabric entirely.
It goes right back to that attention economy we were talking about. When everyone is shouting, how do you stand out? You remove the clothes. It's the loudest statement you can make without saying a word.
It's a race to the bottom, or I guess a race to the skin.
But it also forces a conversation, right, about the female body in public spaces. Is it fashion? Is it a protest against censorship? Or is it just clickbait in human form? It forces the viewer to confront their own voyeurism and their own standards.
And the internet's meme department had an absolute field day with all of this.
Of course.
It's clear they aren't viewing the Grammys as an award show anymore. Not in the traditional sense.
No, they view it as a content mine, a meme farm.
Exactly. The source material highlights this synthesis of the online conversation. The Grammys are now just a source for meme templates. You've got Hailey Bieber's face, Justin's boxers, Chappelle's situation.
Yeah, that's the modern consumption model for these things. Very few people sit down and watch the full 4-hour broadcast anymore.
I certainly didn't.
They watch the clips on TikTok the next morning. They share the memes on Reddit. The show itself almost feels like it's designed to be broken into fragments and distributed. If it doesn't meme, it didn't happen.
You have the producers know that?
They have to. They aren't producing a cohesive television show. They are producing a series of potentially viral clips.
Which brings us to the reality check from our source material, the overarching theme that ties all of this together.
The new formula.
Based on everything we've seen tonight, if you want to make headlines in 2026, talent is simply not enough.
We're not even close.
You must do one of three things.
Number 1, get naked.
As demonstrated by Chappell Roan and Justin Bieber.
Number 2, curse out a government agency.
As demonstrated by Billie Eilish.
And number 3, blow something up.
As demonstrated by Tyler, the creator.
It's a bleak formula, but it is an accurate one. The quiet, dignified performance doesn't trend. If you just go up there and sing a nice song beautifully, you disappear into the noise.
And Billie, who is always the overachiever, managed to check 2 out of the 3 boxes.
She did.
She cursed out the agency, and while she didn't physically blow anything up, she certainly blew up the censorship button in the control room.
She did. She broke their system for a few critical seconds.
So, after all that, where does this leave us? We've unpacked the night. It was a bizarre mix of genuine political protest and completely surrealist theater.
It leaves us with a provocative question, I think. If the only way to get people to pay attention to music awards, which are supposed to be about, the music, is through these shock tactics and political confrontations, what happens next year?
Yeah. What happens when the shock wears off?
When getting naked is boring, when cursing on TV is expected, when blowing up a fake gas station has just been there, done that, where does the spectacle go from here?
You just keep escalating?
Do we just keep escalating until the stage is actually on fire for real, or does the pendulum swing back and we circle back to just singing?
I feel like we're a long, long way from just singing.
I fear you're right. We seem to be on a trajectory of escalation, and I don't see an off-ramp just yet.
Well, that is a lot to process. But before we go, I want to encourage you, the listener, to do your own research on this. Go look up Billie Eilish's Wildflower speech. Find the uncensored version.
And don't just read the transcript. Listen to the tone of her voice. Look at the pins on her jacket. And then decide for yourself. Was it a calculated stunt? Or was it the start of a movement?
And while you're at it, just look up the meme of Hailey Bieber's face. It's good for the soul.
It really is. It's the most relatable thing on the internet right now.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll catch you on the next one.
Stay curious.